on, have a good reputation. Don't be fucking dickheads. All right, it's 2019. Let's not degrade. Okay. Speaking of servers, we all saw what just happened. Harad obviously super high pop. Well, not super high, just high. All the other ones, most of the other PP servers are medium population. If you didn't reserve your name on the other servers, Thalnos and Verlena, that's fine. It's up to you. If you went gung-ho on Harad because you figured fucking Carnival was on Thalnos and fucking the streamers were on Verlena, that's all good. It's not completely out of the question that we'll be going on something other than Harad. Obviously, there's just not enough info right now. I mean, that wasn't entirely representative of the actual, like, true numbers of Harad. It wasn't representative on any of the other servers. It's purely just character creation. People holding names, people doing the exact same things that we were doing. You know, just jumping on each server, getting their name on every server. We're just going to play it by ear. I mean, that's kind of how we do everything. We just play it by ear, and then we usually make a game time decision. We've been wrong a few times. I doubt we'll be wrong this time. It's just, you know, we just need more information. We need to know exactly how many characters were created on Harad. We need to know, like, I mean, honestly, with nowadays, even on server launches, there's not really a queue. I mean, on any server, if there is a queue, it's less than an hour for the most part. I mean, the queue to create a character was, what, I think 11,000 at one point for Harad. That went by in 10 minutes. Obviously not indicative of what the actual wait time will be on launch, but you know, it's just something to think about. There's just not enough information to do anything except soft panic about it. And there's just a lot of things to take into consideration. So yeah, I mean, if you're gung-ho about Harad, sweet, that's cool. You got 3 names on Harad, that's great. But we still could, you know, we could audible. It's, you know, it's entirely possible. If we get to, you know, launch and we're going to log in and half our guild is fucking 3-hour queue, it's just something we're gonna have to discuss. There's a lot of hypotheticals that we have to run through, and just need time to do that. Need info. But I think most of us would rather, you know, ideally we play in a high pop server that doesn't have a queue, or that has like a 15-minute queue, right? That's ideal. I don't think any of us, a lot of us have had our fair share of playing on fucking 1500 pop servers that eventually dwindle in content droughts to about 800 pop. It's just not fun. It's not cool. I'd rather, you know, be on a high pop server than a low pop one. That's a gimme. But yeah, we're gonna play by ear, so just stay tuned on that. We'll talk about it, you know, in general chat. We'll talk about it, chilling in voice with each other, and we'll see what we want to do. But we'll make the right decision, you know, because we know it's a really, really important one. It's, you know, it kind of determines the next at least 6 months to a year maybe of gameplay. So possibly more than that if you pick correctly. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the extent of the conversation right now for server. Just kind of gotta wait. I mean, once we do hop in though, we've talked about it before. Those of you that played on Nightbane or previous expansions with us, you kind of know we definitely want to uphold this kind of communism attitude. It sounds weird, but this community-based attitude where we're helping each other, we're keeping things inside of our community. Things like materials, hot ticket items, big ticket items like Edge Masters. You want to keep those inside the guild. You don't want to sell outside the guild. Just don't sell shit outside the guild. Keep it inside the guild. You know, don't inflate your prices. Don't be a fucking dick. Don't sell shit for high to your guild mates. But keep everything inside the guild. All right. We don't want to see people selling shit outside the guild. It just doesn't make any sense. It's gonna hurt you in the long run. It's going to affect your goals negatively. If not in the short term, then definitely in the long term. It's just how the game works. So keep things inside the guild, and we'll be happy. We'll be stronger because of it. That also just goes with the fact of just, you know, I can't stress this enough. A lot of people have been waiting for a long time for this. Don't ruin their experience for them. Don't be fucking dickheads. If we're trying to uphold this community aspect and a few people are like, yeah, I'll do it. Kind of sucks though. Like I could sell this for big outside of guild. I could do it under the table. That's fine. Somebody's gonna find out. They're gonna be pissed. Just don't do it. Like trust me, we've done it enough times where it always gets found out, and then you're just the rat, and it kind of sucks to be the rat. It sucks to have a rat in the guild, so don't be one. So same with Nightbane, it'll just be there's gonna be some sweet add-ons, I'm sure, for like guild banks and everything, but at the start we have an account that's just a fresh account. All the officers have the info for it. Just gonna set up bank characters. If you want to send your your runoff cloth, your runoff skins, runoff ore, whatever the fuck you want to send, just send it to the fucking the G-Bank alts. There'll be names shit like Blue Miner, Cloth, Leather, shit like that. If you want to send it there, that's fine. Ideally, at some point, we'll have enough, capital to start buying shit from each other inside the guild. Guild Bank can just buy your shit from you for auction house price, so that would be good. But initially, just kind of helps to have some runoff be sent to the Guild Bank so that we can start developing the Guild Bank. Obviously not mandatory. If you don't want to send shit, it's not going to affect you. We're not going to be like, oh, Zidane didn't send anything. Like, he's not nearly as attractive as these other people who are sending him for a raid spot. Like that's not gonna happen. It's whatever you want to do. It's completely up to you. It's totally participation. But yeah, it's just really beneficial for us in the long run, because we'll use those, keep in the Guild Bank. We're not gonna like sell them. We're not gonna like sell any of the runoff. All we're gonna do is keep it in the Guild Bank, and then once you get to max level, we're gonna allow people to use that. We kind of just like this community basket that people can pull from to level up their professions at max. Anybody got questions on that? What we'll do is, I think last time we kind of just ran through all the subjects that we wanted to cover, and then if you had a question, you kind of like forgot about it. So after every subject, we'll just see if anybody has questions about it, or if anybody's like confused about any of the shit we're talking about. Okay, good to go.
All right. So yesterday we posted the new compendium. This is really just meant to be a nice one-stop shop for you, just for everything in one place, from leveling, class guides, what to do at 6T, professions, all that. I'm just going to go through a really quick overview. I'm not buzzing. There's no way I'm buzzing. I'm not buzzing, actually. All right. Just really quick, leveling. From what we learned in beta, dungeon grinding is actually really sick compared to Mangoes. Due to some sort of error in Mangoes, they weren't calculating experience correctly, and also elites were just a lot stronger. So on beta, it's proven to be competitive with solo AoE grinding and the quickest hunters out there. So it can be really viable. So it's really solid if for a melee cleave group. But the main thing I want to stress here is it's not something you really want to force, and it's not really something that that you need to organize or anything. It's not something we're going to organize. So just look at the guide there on the leveling tab in there if you're interested. If you have some dudes who want to do it, At the very least, I do really recommend it for SM. STV is awesome for the World PvP experience, but doing SM grinding's really good for dodging that, and it's just really crazy efficient. On to questing. It looks like Synergy, I think you can confirm this, but I'm pretty sure originally on beta they broke AoE grinding, but then they fixed it with the caster leeway thing, and it seems to be working well again, so that's still viable, all that junk. As for add-ons, we now have way better add-ons for this. We have Azeroth Autopilot, Joanna's Guide, WoW Pro, all that. So if you're new to leveling for vanilla, just if you follow those, you might not break a record, but you'll be fine. So on to what to do at 60. First of all, don't be spooked about the front page. This is mostly for you, J Mills. This is just like a really optimistic, hey, in 12 days, hopefully we're in MC in some way, whether that's a partial pug or it's all of us. Some of us are going to be going hard, getting 60 really quickly. Others won't be. Take your time. This is a marathon. That's the main point. This is a marathon. Don't kill yourself trying to get to 60. If you're not 60 in the first batch, it doesn't mean you're out of the core or something. It doesn't mean you're not going to be in BWL prog. It's a marathon, man. Just have fun. This is what the big show.
Yeah, and just we can't stress it enough. Like you do not get demoralized if you're like, oh, I had to work, so now I'm fucked. That's not how you should play your game at all. Like it should not be stressful for you to get to 60. If you want to get there fast, that's sweet. A lot of people have taken off work. I think we have like somewhere around like 20 or 30 people that have taken off at least some time off to play. And you're going to see a lot of people that are 60 when you're like 35. It's just what's going to happen, especially if you're new to the guild, all right? Especially if you're new to the guild and you don't know the level of fucking weaponized autism we can achieve. 1,000% you're going to see that. You're going to see people at 60 when you're 35, and that's totally fine. And there's going to be people that level up to 60 within the first week, and they're going to be scrambling to get a fucking MC attunement and get an MC pug run in to just get some bosses down before the reset happens. Just fucking live your truth, man. Don't get fucking upset about that. Just go at your own pace and have fun. And we have a big roster. We're going to recruit more people, and there's going to be at least 2 raid groups by week 5. So.
Yeah, so just going on to what to do at 60. We have a tab for that as well. Get to 60. The first things you should be thinking about, obviously, is your Prebis and Molten Core and Onyxia chain attunements. But what's really important is your Hydraxian Waterlord rep. In order to actually finish MC, we need people to have honored reputation before we even go into Molten Core. You can't get honored from one run. So you can do that. It's on the reputation guides and also on the key farming spots tab. Basically, there are elementals you can farm, and we need 8 people. There's 8 rooms, right? 7. We need a number of people honored so that way they can finish their attunement, get their Aqua Quintessence, so that we can douse and actually do a full clear. So think about that. Going back to the marathon thing, we are going to eventually be requiring a level 20 Warlock and having one of your professions be engineering, but this is a long-term thing. Very low priority at the beginning. Don't break your back trying to do it. The sooner you get it, great, but it's not a big deal. We're really looking at that for later on because there's not a lot that we can benefit from for engineering in Molten Core. It's more of a Blackwing layer and later thing. As for a level 20 Warlock, Soulstone training isn't really needed for Molten Core either, but if you want to, it always helps to have extra summoning warlocks around the world. We have some warlocks in Ungoro that can just log in and we can get a squad down there to get Devil Sword really quickly if there's some kind of scuffle going on. It's great. It's only good for us. So on to more professions. Blacksmithing. Future's going to do the Thorium Brotherhood grind. This is something that the guild can help with. So if you just look at the, I believe it's on the key farm spots tab, there's some Thorium Brotherhood rep stuff you can send to the bank and that'll help Future. It's really important for Future to get that exalted because of it's our Nightfall, it's our Fire Resist set, all that junk. Mining, really important, and it's a really sick profession for rogues to have. we need tons of Arcanite bars because we're doing melee cleave and Lionheart helms. We need tons of them. So we need Arcanite transmutes going constantly. So rogues, this is a really awesome second profession for you because you can do your stealth ooze runs in Silithus, and then you can really lock down Burning Steps. But anyone that wants to do mining, we will buy your arcane crystals, especially if you're just doing it to level up engineering. Skinning, we need Devil Source skinners. There's never enough. So if you want to skin, you want to keep it, and you want to get your Finkles, do it. We need lots of Devil Sore, and we also need someone to skin our Core Hounds. Leatherworking, need a couple of those just for Devil Sore. So if you want to do that, please do. Alchemy, just like TBC, we need lots of transmutes. We need those Arcanite bars for our warriors.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, especially like I know a lot of people are kind of just. I feel like alchemy kind of like gets thrown under the rug sometimes. 100%. If you want to go alchemist, or if you want to go leather worker, or you want to even fucking be a blacksmith or whatever, as long as you're doing it for the guild, that you're going to be just as attractive for a raid spot as an engineer. Okay.
Yes.
It's not like we're gonna be like, oh, he's fucking alchemist. Like, we're not just gonna fucking use you and be like, well, you don't have engineering, like you can't come. It's just absolutely not gonna be like that. If you forego engineering to get to be a transmute master, so that you could start pumping out fucking cooldowns within the guild, 100% you're gonna be just as attractive. Don't feel like that's holding you back from a raid spot. And on top of that. Just a little side note, if you're buying transmutes or you're buying any sort of a cooldown from a guildie within the guild, tip them. 100% tip them every time. If you don't tip them one time, tip them double the next. That's just what you do. 100% have to tip these people. They're spending money on their profession to level it. And if they don't accept your tip, that's fine. That's on them. But offer it every single time. I think a few servers we had people not tipping, and it was kind of just like, you don't want to, just don't be that way towards people. Don't be that way towards your homies. It creates a rift. It needles people. They don't like it. So just tip your homies.
That's a really good point. Like, whatever you can do, whatever profession you want to do, there are plenty of ways you can help. Engineering is really great late game, like in AQ, you can cheese Visitus and all that, but early game, it's really just about professions and churning stuff out. So if you're not engineering, as long as you're doing something, just as attractive. Herbalism, the infamous Black Lotus. If you haven't played vanilla before, this Black Lotus is just hot. It's hot commodity. It's way more difficult than getting your lotuses in TBC. These are typically camped hard and they're expensive. They always stay hot. And we need tons of them because we need Titans for our tanks. Casters later on, you can start using Supreme Power if you want to, but really it's more about just making sure we at least have them for our tanks. Melee, you don't really get to have to use Flask in vanilla.
Yeah, and this is sort of just stockpiling. For phase 1, I mean, honestly, phase 1 is just preparing for phase 2. It's whoever gets first rag, sweet. Golf clap, Onyxia. First Onyxia's golf clap. I'm sure if it's us, that if we get it, we're going to be fucking screaming our dicks off because it's going to be sweet. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. BWL is the one that matters. BWL is the one that you get prepared for, you stockpile for, you are playing phase 1 pretty much only to get to phase 2. Or to BWL, I should say. And obviously we don't know the exact timeline for it. It's just, it hasn't been totally confirmed, so we'll just see. But in terms of professions, pretty much have whatever you want for phase 1, and it'll be fine. If you want to make money, that's sort of cool, but just be ready that once BWL comes out, you're gonna want engineering, and even for phase 2 for world bosses, you're gonna want engineering. I mean, it's nice, but by BWL 1000%, if you want to raid, you need engineering. It's required for BWL. Okay, so before that, you can do whatever you want. If you want to be engineering, that's totally fine.
Actually, totally forgot about that point. Phase 2, we get Azergos, right? So that's when Goblin Sapper Charge already comes into play, because
Massive.
40 people stack on their tank, boom, they're done, and we get.
Yeah.
All right, so the last things for phase 1, just hot stuff that's important. Restorative potions, which is Elemental Earth and Goldthorn. You can find Elemental Earth on the Key Farm Spots tab, but basically this is a really awesome potion for MC because you can cheese bosses with it, especially Shaz. Greater Fire Protection Potion. We might not need those for Rag. We don't know about how resistances work versus Mangoes yet, but we'll definitely need them for tank side. There's no way we won't, and that's Elemental Fire. But yeah, just take a look at that tab. As for mounts, this goes back to I did talk about leveling, but remember, just know what skills you can buy and which ones you can skip. Anything you can save so you can get your mounts. Yeah, gold making, it's pretty self-explanatory unless anyone else wants to say anything. So phase 1, World PvP, even though we won't have ranks yet, it's always important because vanilla WoW isn't about just zoning into the raid and you kill everything and you're done. It's about the whole thing, because it's about prep and dominating farm spots. If we can't dominate Devilsaur Leather, then we don't have gear. If we can't dominate Black Lotus, then we can't get the stockpile for BWL. It just hurts us. So that's why, yeah.
And it's fine. And it's fine if we don't dominate Devilsaur. It's a difficult thing to do. It's extremely difficult to dominate Devilsaur, especially in a hot pop server. It's fine if we don't do that, but we need to make sure that we're at least dominating some. We're at least cornering some market. It remains yet to be seen what we're going to be able to corner, but every guild that is worth its salt, if they can't dominate Devilsaur, they'll go, okay, we'll try Black Lotus. If they can't do that, they'll try to do something else. Okay, you'll just go down the line. You need to have some sort of cornered market where you can make some big fucking cash. But all of that is based on community effort. It's not just 10 people that want to do it. It's literally everybody is expected to be working in the interest of making the guild stronger and making the guild wealthier.
For sure. And that's just going back to the main point. This is a marathon. Phase 1 does not matter in terms of progression. Whoever's first to 60, they're gonna clear MC unless there's something absolutely nuts about retail true data that we don't know. It's all about getting that snowball rolling. If we control everything early, then we're ahead for the actual real raids. If we screw up the first phase, then we fall behind and everyone else snowballs. Layering's been really strange. It's kind of changed in how it works throughout the beta, but from what I understand, it looks like guilds are all in a layer now. So there might be something we can do there to abuse resources, maybe leaving guild, rejoining, something like that. I don't really know, but yeah, just if anyone comes up with something awesome regarding layering, it's a huge advantage we could take good use.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously there's no penalty for dropping guild, so if you want to test it out or you find an area that is saturated with fucking mines because it's bugged, keep in mind that this is a brand new fucking game that they're releasing. 1000% there's going to be bugs. I mean, Christ, if anybody played fucking BFA, it was riddled, absolutely riddled with abusable bugs. I mean, people know of fucking dupes already just by playing on the beta and the stress test. Who knows if they're going to make it into live, but keep an eye out for that shit. Don't get fucking bannerinoed. But if you know something, say something. Or keep it close to your chest, to your homies. Just don't get fucking banned. And if you see a way to make some extra fucking gold with layering, go ahead. Just let us know. If you're dropping the guild, don't just fucking drop randomly without us saying to jump layers. Just tell me, tell somebody so that we know you're coming back and you're not fucking like pissed that somebody was sucking you the wrong way.
Yeah, so Big Shake, do you want to talk a little bit about add-ons?
Yeah, basically what's gonna happen is that the new API does not allow for 1.12 add-ons to work, so none of your private server add-ons are gonna work at all. Key add-ons that you need to have are basically boss mods, cast bars, aura timers. If you guys need help setting up anything, you can just DM me and I can basically get any add-on one. LVI will be released eventually, just not on. So just keep an eye out for that. I'll link it when it's available. We are looking for someone that excels at writing add-ons to write timers and stuff for us on our bot. So message Ken or anybody if you can do that.
Yeah, and you know, with the popularity of this game, more than likely the boss timers are kind of gonna write themselves. We just kind of got into the habit of writing our own, because we would be playing on we'd be playing on private servers obviously, and every private server had different timers. So if you're good at that shit, we're definitely looking for somebody that can fucking talk to the add-ons. Our add-on whisperer is apparently not playing Classic, so need somebody that can do that if you can. It would be sweet to know that you can. But in terms of add-ons, I mean, there's going to be great add-ons, much better add-ons than exist right now. Like when it releases, even they're just going to be completely turning out add-ons, like for the duration of the expansion. Obviously, keep an eye out. We'll tell you exactly what you need. If you show up, you don't have a fucking add-on that we want you to have. I don't know. You'll just be that fucking donkey-brained idiot that doesn't know how to do files. I don't. Just download the ones we tell you to, and if you don't want to, then live your truth, I guess. But if you ever have any trouble with files, like Future Boy, just contact Shake. He's real good with that shit. He builds spaceships with that shit, so just hit him up if you need help.
Yeah, we do have all the download sites on the website. So if you need a quick resource link, just check the links.
Yeah, and just a quick side note on the compendium. That's just an extension of our library, right? So every guild should have at least some sort of a library where they have a place for you to go quickly inside of your own Discord. Just to reference, what am I doing here? Where are the farm spots? Really quickly, what should I be doing? Like, do I need to get a quintessence? That kind of shit. It's purely for that, and it's a work in progress. If you have access to super sick guides, send it to us. If you have the info that you want on there, or a new sheet to be put on there, let us know. But it's purely for your convenience. It's not indicative of it's not like we're elitist jerks or anything like that. Obviously, it's not fucking comprehensive. It's a work in progress, and it's just purely for your accessibility, rather than having to chase around Google.
That's it for Adam.
All right. So during the last meeting, we talked a little bit about class leaders. We're going to be using that rank now for vanilla, just because of the sheer number of players. It's not a good ratio. So this is a role that's kind of just going to be based on the role leader and at their discretion. It's not going to be something forced. It's just going to be something organic. That'll organically happen if someone wants to do it or someone looks like they'd be great at it. But really, it's just someone that knows the class inside and out, of course. They're respected by their fellow members of the class. Like for Priest, for example, I'd hope it'd be someone that really goes deep and is a team player, would help with rotating priests inside and out of raids. They can help me designate which priests are what spec based off the comp that we want. So maybe we want 2 PI priests and 1 deep holy, or something like that. And really just be the champion or the voice of that class. They can help start dialogues in that class and relay it up, so that way, no one's left behind.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that a little bit, obviously if you're doing super well and you seem like you have solid opinions for most of the progression fights or even for farm, you'll probably be approached. If you don't want to do it, completely fine. Just be like, yeah, I'm not interested. We're not gonna be like, wow, okay, dude, what the fuck ever. You don't want to be a fucking class leader, dude? And we're not gonna be pissed. We're not gonna think of you any differently. You'll still be that fucking star player in our eyes. But that kind of goes both ways. If you're that star player, and you know that you've been approached for being a class leader, and you know we approach somebody else, and you don't think that they're as good as you, then maybe you should have just been a class leader. But otherwise, just treat your class leaders with respect. They have more of a responsibility than you do. Granted, it's not that intensive, obviously, but it's just have respect for somebody that is playing a different version of the game than you are. It's when you're asked to do something other than show up to raid on time with your fucking consumables and hit your buttons in the correct key combo, the game changes, and have respect for that. Don't be the fucking guy that's like, our fucking class leader sucks, dude. That's not cool. That's just being a loser. I don't even know how else to describe it. It's just being a big fucking loser. If you want to be that way, then you'll just get kicked. Because we're at this point we're established. We have like upwards of 100 people without even recruiting. By the way, we haven't recruited a single person. This is all just people that we've been playing with for the last 2 years. So once recruitment opens, you can absolutely expect it to go up to 120, 150. If you're going to be a dickhead to the fucking class leaders because you don't think it's a real role, it's not going to be good for you, right? Just treat them with respect, and treat them how you would treat somebody that is playing a different game than you.
Awesome. So I'm just going to go into some of the key things really quickly that we learned during beta that is super different from the Mango's core that we're used to, just so people can have a heads up and know what to expect. Number one, we've learned nothing about resistances. All I know for a fact is that they never worked correctly on private servers, and they were a lot easier to deal with on private servers, and likely caster DPS was too high because of it, but that's just me. I don't have anything to confirm on that. But for boss armor, we did confirm that it's way too high on Mango's. It's so low, like Ragnaros' armor got confirmed, it's so low that it can be reduced to 0 with debuffs. So what's this mean? Big dick damage, man, for melee. So melee cleave still looking good. However, there's big parry change. There was a 14% difference in parry that didn't exist on Mango servers and does on Classic. So what's this mean? Lower tank threat overall. So that might be tough.
Much lower. But we'll be getting hit harder. We'll be getting parry haste is going to play an effect. We're going to have a little bit more rage gen from that as well. It remains to be seen. Weapon skill is also going to have a big impact on that. I'm sure Tispada will go over that shortly here, but yeah, I mean, this just goes into what being a good WoW player is. Being a good WoW player is playing to the best of your ability and playing your character to its max potential within the conditions of the raid. If the condition is that your main tank, your threat tank isn't there, and you have to use your main tank who is in fucking full defense gear, if you pull threat, you're shit. You're just bad. I don't know. Alright? Perform the best that you can perform within the conditions of the raid. Because threat's going to be an issue, for sure. I mean, it's going to be something that you're going to have to get used to. Especially if you play a Fury Warrior.
Alright, next big thing, weapon skill. Weapon skill has always been super important, but on private servers, it was effective all the way to 315 through Lance and Blows. For Classic, it's only to 308. So the big difference here is the yellow hit cap against bosses was 8%, but there's some sort of error, and it's actually 9% at 300 weapon skill. If you get that to 305, your yellow hit cap goes all the way down to 6%. So what's this mean? Weapon skill is even more important than before, so just keep that in mind. That means your edge masters are way stronger, and I believe they already adjusted EP values for warriors. I don't know if they did everything else. Yeah. Next, crit diminishing returns. In a nutshell, 3% lower crit against bosses, 1% per level, and an additional 1.8% that's static, that's taken away from your gear or any auras such as talents. So what's this mean? Minus 6% crit against bosses. So again, this is just going to affect your EP values on crit, and it might slightly change your BIS, but I believe that's, at least for Warrior, that's been worked out already. But still, even with those nerfs, the lower boss armor, you're still going to be doing more damage overall just because it's so much lower, but tank threat is going to be a problem, and that's something we're going to be looking at.
Yeah, and obviously this isn't, we're not trying to explain these things to you. Like, we're not here to explain the diminishing returns on crit. We're here to give a brief overview of it so that if you haven't heard about it yet, then you can, you know, we're planting that seed for you to go research it, because these are absolutely things that you need to know. These are the mechanics of the game. Okay, if you don't know this, then you're just not playing the game correctly. Just figure it out. If you want. If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm sure it's not going to affect your playstyle that much. You're just going to have some questions while you're playing, and that's fine too. But if you want to go in depth, join the fucking Warrior Discord. They've been going fucking balls deep on this shit. I wish we had more info about resistances and about casters and shit, but obviously this is a comprehensive. We're not trying to explain it to you. We're just trying to get the gears rolling.
Yeah, and if you want to take a look at it, I linked the actual GitHub for all that. If you want to nerd out on the Warrior and Rogue tab on class guides, it's just titled Beta Finding. So next, just based off all of that, everything we've learned, everything we already know, for raid comp, we're thinking melee cleave's still going to be the meta for the first few phases. So just expect that. We're going to be going heavy on melee just as before, which means about 4 or 5-ish groups of melee. Healer numbers, Rag was hitting like a bitch. I really think healing is going to be easier than private servers, but we're going to be ready just in case. I'm thinking that progression is going to be like 10. The main thing here is just with the tank threat problem, I definitely want to have a chain heal, slave, Wind Fury, totem, shaman, improve the Wind Fury. It's not that much, but it doesn't hurt the shaman's healing throughput that much if they're just chain healing, so I'm definitely going to do that. Probably will have a couple PI priests, depending on all of that. Range comp viability, still won't know. I mean, with the lower boss armor, maybe resistances are just so awesome that casters are really good too. Maybe it'll be something in between, but that's what we're thinking. Please let us know if you think that comps could be better, if you have any ideas, or if you learned something, but this is what we know so far. And then Slob is going to be logging raids. We want to talk about that, Slob.
Yeah, I mean, most of you know that I logged the raids in the past anyway, especially when we played CBC and things like that. I mean, I know it's a lot easier on retail to log raids, but Classic should be just as easy to that. But what that basically means is, in comparison to a private server where you could probably show up to your guild's raid in some shit spec and kind of get away with it, if we log the stuff now, we can see everything. So, you know, goes without saying, don't show up to the raid in a shit spec because it will be noticed. Not on specifically a login front, but just performance wise and just playing the game. We understand people are going to make mistakes in a raid. Some of you either haven't played vanilla before, or last time you played was that 15 years ago, so don't worry about it. We know some people are going to make mistakes, but we do expect people to show up with consumes and know what they're doing. And if you do make a ridiculous mistake, it's going to be on video, and we are going to keep it. So it's going to be funny. So
there's plenty of fuck ups in the trophy case. You'll be immortalized, but
of course.
It'll be mentioned if you fuck up. For example,
like Arcane Elixir instead of Invispot.
Just like that. KG special on Vash.
Exactly, and you know, and like you get over it and it's fine. But in the moment, we're 100% going to mention it. I mean, there's been plenty of more casual tiers where we've just been like, for fuck's sake, like we haven't mentioned it. Like we know who fucked it up, we know who's fucking up, but we're not mentioning it because we know they're a better player and we're just taking it casual. That's fine. It's not going to be the case here. it's going to be mentioned. Okay, if you pull threat, it's 100% going to be like, dude, what are you doing? Don't do it again. It's fine if you do it once. Do it a second time, you get replaced. All right.
I think that's another thing in terms of
you gotta fly ice cold.
Well, exactly, yeah, and I think that's another thing in terms of the magnifying glass type thing is we've got more people in the raid, you know, from most of the time you've played with us, we'll go from the 25 to the 40, there's going to be more people streaming, more people recording. You already know I record all the raids anyway, so we're going to see what you're doing, so even if you do fuck something up that doesn't immediately get flagged, where we just say, okay, what the fuck are you doing after the raid, it may be a case of we'll watch through shit or flick through boss fights and I might see you do something wrong and I'll then have a question. You're going to get questioned on things, but what I would say is don't stress about it, because we're here to sort of, you know, it's just going to be helpful. It's not going to be, what the fuck are you doing, you retard. No one's going to say that to you. It's going to be just don't do that. That isn't what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And if you do have a question about a fight, ask.
And if that, you know, obviously tensions can be high and emotions can come out, and outbursts from people that are frustrated with a fuck up are gonna happen. That's just the way of the game. That's just the way of the internet and gaming. And it's fine. But after the raid, obviously, talk to that person you blew up at. You know, don't be a fucking, be an adult. Don't be a fucking child about it. Like, you should 100% be able to approach any human being with conflict resolution at any point in your life. And if you absolutely can't, then it obviously has to have a good reason for it. Getting mad about a fuck up in a raid on World of Warcraft is not a good reason to fucking avoid that person and not try to remedy your relationship with them. 100%. If, like, obviously if one of the officers fuck up, okay, and somebody's like, what the fuck, you know, you fucking officer, what the fuck you fucking up? Everyone's gonna fuck up. Everyone's gonna wipe the raid. It's just how the game is. It's just what happens. You just trip over your shoelace sometimes. Sometimes they're not fucking tied correctly and you trip over them. Alright, sometimes you're fucking YouTubing while you're raiding and oopsie daisies, you pull threat because you're just fucking sitting there spamming heroic strike. Onyxia turns around, cleaves you down, and 5 other people. That's fine. You're not gonna get fucking attacked for it. If you are attacked, you're gonna get an apology. If you don't get the opportunity to defend your case during the raid, which is rare, we'll obviously be able to defend your case after the raid in a public setting, because I think that's something that maybe we haven't been so good at, is kind of just, if somebody fucked up during the raid, the officers and the leadership will deal with it under the table, and they won't ever get to be like, yeah, I actually didn't fuck up, I was just trying to do it this way. We'll try to make it so that everybody knows that if you're right and we were wrong, you'll be vindicated. We won't treat you like we don't ever want to be wrong, because we're human too. Everybody's human. They're gonna make mistakes. The leadership's gonna make gameplay mistakes all the time. Hopefully not all the time, but you get what I'm saying. Just be humble about it. Be humble in your playstyle, and it'll be a much better experience for you.
I think on the subject of like transparency as well, in terms of that, I mean, when we're talking about somebody maybe fucking up or making a mistake or showing up to a raid without a consume or not putting any effort in before a raid, logging on 5 minutes before the raid, all that kind of stuff. It's one thing is, yeah, all of those things are noted down, so it may just be a case of you may be showing up and doing great, but every time you're logging on 5 minutes before the raid, or you're not putting any effort in, you're taking shit consumes, or trust me, all of that stuff's noted. And in terms of the transparency part of it, is just the logs will obviously be public for everyone else will see it, and the transparency in terms of loot. I know in the past when we do loot council, it's a case of we just do the loot, right, and you don't really get to see into it. I know we started doing the thing where we rotate random members of the raid in to be part of the loot council to see that. We're not really going to do that. The loot council is going to stay as it is, but we have a loot document and we already have an idea of each individual boss fight from MC to Nax, where we know what classes to get what pieces of loot, class race combinations, obviously dependent upon weapons, things like that, PvP is, and these are the kind of things we're sort of going to get off you over the next 2 weeks to see, the PvP aspect, because we haven't really gone into that, and we won't really go much into that today. But we'll just see what people. There's a big difference basically between what people can achieve and what they will achieve. There's probably going to be a lot of people saying, yeah, rank 14, I'll get rank 14, yeah, and they won't. But we'll figure that out. And but that's the kind of stuff we'll obviously. A lot of that stuff impacts the loot, and on terms of loot, we do have a loot document where we're going to note down every piece of loot that gets given out and gets handed out, and you'll all be able to see that. You'll see who's getting the loot when they're getting it, so there's not going to be any of that shit of, well, I think this person's getting all this. It's all going to be there. It's going to be obvious, and there's just get that whole. I know some people are against loot council for vanilla, which we're not getting into the fucking DKP argument because it's ridiculous, but the transparency is going to be there in all aspects of everything we do now, which will make a lot of it easier for people, but it should help.
Yeah. Does anybody have any specific questions about performance, or I guess anything that we've gone over?
Yeah, just
in the last
raid
5 minutes or
comp,
so?
performance, loot. Does anyone have any questions on any of that? Don't all speak at once.
But yeah, just like Slob said, I mean, we have a pretty fucking nice spreadsheet at this point.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a good spreadsheet. It'll be there for you guys to look at. You'll see exactly where the loot's going.
Yeah, because that stuff impacts like this whole thing we're talking about doing 2 groups, right? So let's say off the top of our head, what if we said like week 5 we're going to have 2 running. Let's say it gets to week 5 and we don't have 2 running because we don't want to do 2 ridiculously long raids for people.
Right, exactly.
But most likely we're going to be fine with it. But either way, when we do have that second group, yeah, there is going to be times there where we're going to split the main melee DPS up into group 1 and 2, and then if, let's say we are a DFT drop somewhere in the future, those alts in the raid, obviously, it should be obvious to everybody, but I'll state again, obviously they aren't going to be able to roll on that DFT. That's just, it's self-explanatory, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. And like Slob was saying, I mean, second group usually crops up around the fifth week. Honestly, it's earlier in 25 mans. It's earlier than that. I think in Ulduar we had the second Ulduar group, for example, going the week of, maybe the second week, just because it was a lot easier to get level. But just in terms of people's alts and the second wave of 60s, the third wave of 60s coming in, we're assuming that's going to be around week 5, week 6 after launch. Yeah, we're not gonna sit there and be like, okay, we have to get these people into Molten Core. It's that isn't how vanilla is really. Molten Core's loot is good. Don't get me wrong. It's great. It's fucking amazing. Okay. All right. You'd suck some dick for it. You'd suck some dick to get in there. You want the experience. All right. But it's not worth us splitting up the raid. Say we only have enough for say we only have fucking 70 people, so we go 35 and 35, easily doable. It's going to make the raid longer. It's going to get people that would have been clearing it a little bit more frustrated, and that's acceptable. That's their frustration is totally accepted. We're not going to be sacrificing the speed and the efficiency of one group just so we can get in there and get 1 week's worth of loot. We would rather just, okay, we got 70 people now, we got 70 60s that are ready to go in and raid. Maybe we can go in with the second group without mixing the first group into it and get some bosses down for some free loot. Not going to worry about clearing rag. We'll wait the week for our 50 somethings to get 60, and then we'll have 2 raid groups. All right, we're not gonna rush it, and that just goes with being patient. If you're the type of person that likes to throw fits, or just can't control your emotions about that kind of stuff, it's people are going to look at you sideways. So just be patient about it, especially if you're bringing up the rear. Obviously, everybody wants to raid, and being part of this guild. If you've been in, if you played on different servers with us, different projects, most people in the guild have been happy with us. We have a pretty high retention rate, and that should be indicative of our ability to help you achieve your game. Alright, so just believe in us and trust that we will deliver the same product to you as we deliver to everybody else that maybe was more no life or got to 60 faster than you did.
I have a question.
What's your question?
The first mind quickening gem. Who's that going to?
Class lead CLC.
That's going to Nash and class leader.
If it goes to my class leader, I'm okay with this. Najin is not my class leader, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Be careful.
I'm surprised he's not chirping back at that.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I think it's permanently muted.
Is he close?
No.
Really quick, I just got
Oh, he's
this
on the phone.
question. Someone asked what the loot table is. So they're not going to be rolling back actual item stats like they did for Nostalrius. What they're doing is they're doing final stats, but they're staggering the items based off phase. So like phase 1, we still get Mage Blade and we don't get Corehound Tooth and like Cauterizing Band, but we get final version Mage Blade, final version BRE, stuff like that, which are insane.
Yeah, which is absolutely insane, and that goes the same with like dungeon gear. Turban won't be in the game, but the updated versions of the gear that was attainable will be in the game.
Do you guys know if like the BRD chest, the Savage Gladiator, is it going to be tanked or DPS?
It's going to be the final version, so like
Final
I believe
one,
it should be
It'll be DPS, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it'll be DPS.
Have fun, Warriors.
Oh, yeah. Give that purple.
Let's see. I think we covered everything. Oh my god, man, we're keeping these guild meetings nice and succinct. Is there anything anybody like wants to talk about that maybe we didn't cover? I absolutely like to keep these succinct because when it comes down to it, the majority of our core has been built from 2.5 years of private server play, and most of you guys are very responsible and mature fucking WoW players that have been playing the game for a long time. We try to keep these meetings concise because you guys know what to expect. We just kind of want to hammer out the curriculum for the guild and just make sure that you guys know what you're getting into, that we'll be taking care of you and that we'll be taking care of each other and trying to have as much fun as we can as we step through this fucking portal back to the childhood.
On the thing before about add-ons that we mentioned, is there anybody in here that either 1 doesn't have add-ons, 2 wants to know which add-ons are the best just for leveling? Because if you do, I think most of us are kind of going with the consensus of using like Classic Codex and Azeroth Autopilot. Autopilot only goes to level 40, but just using those 2 in combination does seem to be best. And if you do want just like a small pack of add-ons, quality of life stuff like those leveling add-ons, layer tricks, etc. If you just want those ones that are not going to change your frames, they're not going to change your bars, you just want that shit for leveling and quality of life stuff that will auto sell junk and make your camera zoom out more. If you want that stuff all put into one package, just tell Big Shake and he'll do it. So there won't be any big shit like no fucking UI mods, nothing like that, just quality of life.
Does the
I'll have
autopilot
Lunar
actually work? Cause
Yeah, it does, it does.
okay, in the comments there's a bunch of people bitching about it not working.
It only works to level 40.
It works.
I tried it. We tried it.
It's fucky if you skip. So if you skip
don't
right
skip.
now, it's kind of fucky. But I'm sure people will be fiddling with it like on repacks
Yeah.
and shit.
That's why I'm basically saying just use Classic Codex with it. To just go alongside. And
Yeah,
then,
that add-on pack does have Luna frames in it, so just turn it off if you don't want to use it. It's basically like shadowed uniframes.
Yeah, Luna's a very good unit frame add-on. Like super good.
Highly recommend it, healers.
And
it's the same way with like the weak auras. We've got weak auras that will just add debuffs to the top of, like if you're not using nameplate add-on yourself, we've got weak auras that will just add the debuffs to the top of the nameplates for you and things like that.
Yeah.
If
I'll
you
probably
want that
be
stuff,
linking
just
like
ask.
boss weak auras in the middle grade for anybody that wants a little more heads up on boss mechanics.
Yeah.
I usually do that all the time during raids.
It's pretty much necessary for you to understand what weak cores are and how they work and how you like it really slows you down if you're in the raid and we're giving you a fucking weak aura for like I don't know, fucking hysteria or some shit, and you're just like, what the fuck's this? And you don't know how to fucking import it. You know, it slows your gameplay down. So just quick fucking YouTube video on weak auras. It's single-handedly the most broken fucking add-on in the game. If that goes against your
Wait, are DKs being ported to classic?
yes. If that goes against your playstyle and you're a fucking purist and you play no add-ons, no consumes, no professions, then I guess you don't have to get it. But I'm telling you right now, weak auras is the single-handed strongest fucking add-on ever created for the game. So you should definitely know how to talk to it. Oh, also sign up for the library. If you want to like make additions to the compendium, just let us know and we'll give you access. As long as you don't obviously like fuck it up, then it's fine. Like if you want to have access to it and you know that you could, you know, add to it with some links or with some, you know, information that you have, just let us know and we'll give you access and you can you know chisel out your own block in that. It's completely fine. Just let us know. And obviously, if you have information, share it. It absolutely needs to be shared. We should be sharing it with your guild mates. It's not a competition in between like the guild. It's a competition amongst the other guilds. Okay. Like I don't want to see people being like, I'm not sharing my fucking info with him because he's the same class as me. Like, no, fuck no. If you're acting like that, then you're not confident in your ability to get a raid spot, and you're probably somebody that has not been able to get a raid spot in the past. And just be confident in yourself and be humble, and trust me, it'll make the experience so much better for you. Classic is a community game. This guild is 100% a community that you'll have to play video games with for a long time. You know, it's somewhere that you can pull good players from just out of a fucking hat. That's what it's meant to be. And if you ruin that for yourself just because you're being a fucking maniac, that's on you. All right. Anything else? I'm trying to think.
I have two things to go over. I just thought of.
Okay.
One, if you haven't subbed to the YouTube channel, go do it. So we change it off of Blanc,
Yep.
Blanc or whatever the fuck it is. Get a little bit of a respectable URL.
Yeah, sub to that shit.
The other one, I mentioned in a post like 2 months ago, and we're kind of done with all the private server shit. If you have any intention of streaming for vanilla, talk to Nazgen if you want to be on the Washed Up stream team. I think there's like 13 or 14 people right now. I think that was pretty good.
Who are you?
Shut up.
Hi, Ted.
Sub to that shit. If you haven't subbed yet, just sub. We need 100 subscribers, and then we can, you know, get a custom URL, and that's always nice.
Well, when you add everyone, it's okay, but when I do it.
Hey. So.
It's different than fucking necro pinging random ass channel.
Necro ping, that was fucking insane.
Friends, by the way.
That was insane. He needed a game to play so bad, dude.
I even brought in
I
Cal
know.
bot to
So
fucking catch him.
badly. Yeah, we literally had to
I brought
We
Cal
had to reel this
bot
car.
back
We couldn't
and
figure
set
out.
it up to actually catch deleted messages.
Yeah.
I caught you.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. I know it's kind of like fucking guild meeting again, but that's just it's you know, we're old school like that. We need to get everybody on the same page and get everybody's gears rolling in the same direction. All right.
As soon as we know the server stuff as well, you'll hear about it. It's not going to be something where we're going to keep it until the day before to tell you, so don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
it's at the forefront of our of our priorities right now is figuring out what we're gonna do. And I know that a lot of people have their names on some servers, so that's gonna offer some bias, and that's gonna offer some frustration. But we're absolutely trying to make the best decision for the long term. We're not trying to make the best decision for launch day. We're not trying to make the best decision for 2 weeks in. We're trying to make the best decision on a server that is going to give us a good community to play with for a long time. You know, we want to take it to the house on vanilla. It's the big fucking show. You know, what can I say? It's all been practice. Christ. 2.5 years of fucking building up private servers, man. 2.5 fucking years. You know the shit we've seen? You know the fucking shit we have seen? The dregs of goddamn internet on these fucking private servers, man. 2.5 years of building this shit. Alright, and it's all been practice for the big show. The whole time. That's all it's been. So have fun with it. Be humble. Live your fucking truth. And love your guild. Alright, that's the number one thing. Because your guild is gonna bring the most fun out of everything. Your homies, chill with, and your guild. Alright? I think that's it though. Unless anybody has questions. Oh, hello Nation.
Hello. I'm looking forward to the first Mind Quick being done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
He
Say
said
what?
it. I was just thanking him.
Yeah, no problem.
And Mage Class.
Alright, well, cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Meeting adjourned, boys. Thank you, and girls. Thank you for coming.
Bye. Have
Stay
a
tuned
beautiful
on
time.
announcements. Just keep an eye on announcements because a lot of people tend to like mute that channel. It's not a good idea. Just keep
Just
that
brush
channel
up on your
unmuted.
Portuguese.
Obrigado.
We're